Hey friends, thanks for stopping by today. My name's Jennifer. You're watching Yomorrow Family Farm. And we are in my very messy kitchen. Golly. You know, there are days where I look around and whether it's in my house or outside the house or wherever it is, and I make all of these lists of things to do, and I'm like, all right, I have to do that. And I end up getting so overwhelmed. A lot of it doesn't get done, or it doesn't get done immediately. I'm not going to say it never gets done. For instance, there is a spot on my wall that we had to patch something on the wall. And I put paint on it that I thought was the actual wall color. So I was like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and paint this whole wall right here, which it's just a, it's a simple wall. It's not a big deal. And even this little nook right here, it's not really going to make a difference. The color is so similar. Like, look. You guys, you can barely see the difference. But, well, it looks like there's a different shade up there too. I don't know why that is. That's kind of strange. But this block right here is the color that I thought the wall was. And if anything, it's just going to look like an accent wall, right? So if it's a little bit lighter than, let's say, that wall or that wall, it's really not going to make that much of a difference. And it's such a small area. So one day I'll get to it, right? I'll go ahead and get that painted. Another thing that I keep on telling myself that I need to do is because again, I know I talk about this and I probably sound like a broken record, and I am so sorry, you guys, but I'm constantly talking about how I've been trying to sell the house. Well, we're in a price point where, unfortunately, the market kind of took a hit. Our house has actually not been shown in the last 2 weeks. Is it a bad thing? I mean, it's not just our house. We have a house that's for sale behind us as well. And actually, the crazy thing is that house behind us that is for sale actually sold last summer. And I guess the new owners, I don't know if maybe something happened, they have to move, or whatever the case is, they put their house up for sale. And when it sold back last summer, that thing was on the market for maybe a month and then sold. So it sold very quick, and we ended up listing our house about 2 months after that house sold. So that's kind of a bummer. The bigger bummer on that is that our house was to be sold, and we were supposed to be in our new house March 13th or whatever date that was. I'm trying to forget about it, but we should already be in our new house. Things fell through. It's a bummer, but anyways, so now that our house is on the market again, there's things that I want to do, like touch up some of the baseboards with some white paint, or my cabinets here in the kitchen. I've been looking at them a lot lately, and I'm like, oh, I need to touch them up. Or even not even harsh chemicals, but sometimes if you just wash them, it kind of rubs off some of the enamel. I used expensive, it was like Bayer's cabinet paint on these cabinets here, and they did amazing, but now it's starting to rub off a little bit, and I feel like I'm constantly touching up the paint, especially now because we are trying to sell, so I want everything to look pristine, which of course my kitchen right now does not look pristine. No, I mean, everything is just kind of a mess, and it gets a little overwhelming. I have a black dog who stays in the house. Oh, wait, we'll get to those eggs in a second, so don't get ahead of yourself. But I have a black dog who sheds like crazy, so her hair gets all over the baseboards. The baseboards have like a trim on the top, then a trim there, and then a trim down on the bottom. Like if you see right here, that's a layer. This is a layer. And then this is a layer. So I usually have to come through with a broom, kind of get it off, but sometimes it leaves dirt behind, right? And that dirt sticks, so you have to wash the baseboards. So you're constantly cleaning baseboards, and it's just a lot of work. When you're trying to sell a house, you want everything to be so pristine, so perfect, but we haven't had a showing in 2 weeks, so I haven't really been putting that kind of pressure on myself. But I know it's there. So let's say my realtor contacts me and he's like, hey, somebody wants to see the house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to touch up paint here. I've got to make sure that I clean the bathroom door because my kids touch everything and dirty everything and don't put things away. And it's just a lot of overwhelming feelings. Like I was just in the bathroom looking at my bathroom door and there's like mud or something that's on the door. And I know it's from either my daughter or my son. So every day I've got to take a deep breath, not let myself get overwhelmed by this stuff. Because it can overtake you and it can overwhelm you. And honestly, it's absolutely gorgeous outside. And I don't want to be in my house busting my butt cleaning in here. I want to be outside trimming down those little twiggy trees and cleaning up my yard because I love being outdoors, enjoying the fresh air and the warmth and the breeze and the birds chirping. I don't want to be in my house cleaning. There's days where I get in like this cleaning craziness overload mode. And then I'm stressing everybody else out because I'm yelling at my kids, put your stuff away. I just cleaned the house for, 4 hours today or whatever it is. And yeah. So anyways, I try not to let things overcome me like that because it's very easy to get frustrated. So I tend to just let things go just so I don't have to yell. Because if I gently tell them and I'm like, hey, listen, would you mind picking up your shoes and putting your shoes, like this is something that I've said a bazillion times, right? They should know that their shoes go in the garage, not by the front door, or their socks. Does anybody else have a sock issue? Oh my gosh, I can go on about socks. I don't know what it is. I find socks everywhere and I'm like, how many pairs of socks do you wear? And that is mostly my son. Not as much as my daughter. She leaves other stuff around. Hers is clay. During winter time, she is a mess, guys. Like she is just a mess, but she's an artist and I love that she has an interest in clay sculptures and she's getting really good, and I don't want to deter her, but I try to teach her that when she's done, she needs to clean up her mess. But she is not a neat freak kind of person. She can care less about her stuff being clean and neat and tidy. So it's just a challenge. Zion is more of the tidier one when it comes to me saying, all right, it's time to clean up. Like he's the one that will make his bed and try to do a really good job making sure everything is like kind of perfect. Like me, when I do things, I want everything lined up and clean and neat and tidy and perfect. Where my daughter just kind of does a halfway job, But anyways, enough about that. What I really wanted to show you guys was we have an extreme amount of eggs. And I hate letting it get to this point where we're not eating enough eggs. But boy, we have been eating so many eggs and I can't keep up with it all. So I'm going to show you guys how many eggs. These over here are all the duck eggs, and they're still good for the most part. They're all from like around the 27th, I think, of March. There are probably very few people that do date their eggs, and I don't use like a special marker that is, like edible ink or anything like that. I'm really not that worried about it. Eggshells are so super hard, and somebody might want to argue this with me. I'm not sure, but I do wash my eggs very gently, especially after a major rain because they do get nasty and muddy. And I have to wash them, and I'm not putting them in the fridge. And to be honest with you, not one of these eggs smell. Not one. So I don't have any rotten eggs that I know of yet, but I do have a lot. The oldest one is from March 11th, and the newest one I think is March 17th. So the rest are that we have, which I will show you. These are the ones that we need to eat now. These are like some of the newer eggs from like April 13th, so just a few days old. And then these are just from like yesterday and the day before yesterday. But we also have all of these. So I have four. There's 4 egg cartons here that are full of eggs also. And they're from, for the most part, those eggs there are from the end of March. So probably like around the 29th or so up until like April, I want to say maybe April 11th. So they're still fairly new. I'm not too worried about them yet. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to eat these and, sorry, the lighting. And then I will get out the carton and go through the carton and we'll start eating those, and I'll take the ones that are in this basket here and I'll put them down in the cartons. And I do that. I have to switch them around a lot just because I don't want anybody in the house eating the brand new eggs and leaving the older eggs, because then they go bad anyways. But with these eggs here, I haven't even counted them yet. I know there's quite a few. So you guys, there are 41 eggs that are sitting here. That first, I'm gonna float test them to see if any of them are rotten. If they float to the top of the water, then I'm gonna put them in the compost. This compost goes out to the pigs. So only the pigs pretty much eat this compost here. Let's get these float tested and see how many of these 40 eggs are actually bad. Okay, so from all of these eggs, there was only 7 of them that were bad, and I put those into the compost. The dates on them did range from the 11th of March to the 17th. There was 2 from the 17th. The rest were like 14th, 13th, and 12th, and 1 11. So now that I have all of these that I know are good, I'm probably going to take the newest ones, so dated from the 15th to the 17th, and I will hard boil only about 10 of them. I don't want to do more than that because, quite frankly, they just probably won't get eaten fast enough. Let me just go through these and see what the dates are on them, and then we'll figure out which ones will go to the chickens as scrambled eggs and which ones we'll keep for our family. Okay, so these are the groups that I separated them into. These date from the 15th, and actually there was an April 3rd that got snuck in here somehow, but from basically the 13th to, there's one that's the 19th. So there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, and then these are all going to get scrambled and go to the chickens. And there's actually, believe it or not, there are 3 of them that are from the 11th. Age doesn't always necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad egg. Like I said, the 11th is probably the oldest that we have in this bunch right here, and there's still about 3 of them that are good. But it is what it is. The rest, like I said, there was only 7 that actually floated, so that's not bad. Out of 40 eggs, only 7 floated. It's pretty incredible, remarkable how long these eggs will last when they're just sitting on the counter. And they've been washed. Just remember that, because a lot of people will say, don't wash your eggs because it will take the bloom off of them and they will go bad quicker. Well, these have been sitting on my counter for a month, and these are actually still really good. They're not bad. It's just that I have so many, sorry for the darkness. It's just I have so many other eggs that I would rather start eating some of the newer eggs rather than eating these older eggs. It's just, to me, that's kind of a no-brainer. I want to eat the newer eggs, so I want to get rid of the older eggs so I can start eating some fresh eggs. Now, that doesn't mean that we never eat any of the fresh eggs. There are times that I will, if I'm using eggs for something and I know that I want fresh eggs, like some days you just want a really good fresh egg scrambled or fried for breakfast. And I'll do that every now and then. But for the most part, I do try to go to the older eggs. You know, you can make that decision however you want to do it. You can only put the older eggs if you're going to be baking, or, you know, whatever. You guys know what you're doing, but this is just how we do it. Everybody has their own way of doing things. So let's go ahead and get some boiling, and we'll get those timed. I always let my water come to a boil first. Just 10 minutes boiled, run the cold water on them, let them sit in the fridge, cool the rest of the way, and they'll peel very, very easily. All right, now this might seem a little strange, but another thing that I will do, since I picked some that I'm going to boil, I'm just gonna smell them before I decide on these eggs. So I do that because I don't want to boil these eggs and then later down the road find out that one just kind of wasn't good. Now these probably, see, now this one has a funny smell. This is from the 14th. That's one of the older eggs. But these are going back to the chickens anyways. So I'm sure it's not like really bad. Sometimes even if it doesn't float and you crack it, if it has a funny smell, it's going to be bad. But like I said, the chickens will eat them anyways. They don't care if it's a fresh egg, a bad egg, whatever. They're, you know, they eat poop, for goodness sakes. So I'm pretty sure eating a slightly rotten egg is not bad for them at all. Eggs are a really good protein source and also higher in fat. So it's very excellent for them. So something I just want to share with you guys is my view, because this is something that I really don't share that often. To some of you, this may not look like much, but of course, now that I turn you guys around, she's not there, but Abby was just out there. Yes, this is what my house looks like at the moment. We've got shoes by the door, the dog toy at the side there. Look, the cows are walking towards the back where the little creek is, and most likely you'll be able to see them eventually coming through this door here. They're most likely going to the hay. But I love being able to look. Yep, there she is. I love being able to wash dishes or do something here in the kitchen. I can cook on my stove and still be able to look out at this view. And I'm really, really going to miss this. You guys, if I can pick up this house and take it with me to a new piece of land, I would 1,000,000% do that. Unfortunately, this house, half of it is underground. So we would have to dig it up quite a bit to get it out. And I'm sure that would cost over $1 million to get it done. So even though I love this house, I don't love it that much. Plus, I don't have that kind of money, and I probably can't get finance for over $1 million, so I don't even want to try. But anyways, my stove is right here. So again, I get to cook and still look out my window. Isn't that awesome? I just absolutely love that. I think in my next house, if it doesn't have a sunroom, one of the things that I would really like to do is make sure that wherever my sink is, I always like my sink to be out a window. That's first and foremost. It has to be looking outside, preferably towards the backyard and not the front yard. However, the house we're looking at, if things still go that direction, the kitchen sink is out the front window, not the back. So down the road, I might want to switch things around and move things. That's probably going to cost me a little fortune, but it does not have a sunroom, and I think it would be really cool to, it has a sitting room, but again, it doesn't look out the back pasture, which is kind of a shame because there's 10 gorgeous acres at this particular house that looks, it's just beautiful, beautiful acreage. So, something that we would probably do in the future, one would be later down the line to add another bedroom, and two would be to move the kitchen to look out towards the backyard, and three would then be to add a sunroom. And I would love to have a sunroom about the size of this, where it's not huge, but it's super functional. Who knows, it might not even be the house that we end up with. I'm just sharing it with you guys because it's on my mind, and maybe that's wishful thinking that somebody's gonna come look at our house soon. So anyways, let's get back to these eggs. So while we are waiting for this water to come to a boil, I'm gonna go ahead and get out a pan, but I am gonna put a little bit of oil on the bottom of the pan just so they don't stick. These are some older pans, and I can really use some better pans, that's for sure. So we're just gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna put them on here, and I'll scramble them in the pan. So I gave her pretty much this whole section right here. I'll give Sergeant probably this whole section right here, and I'll just give this to the chickens. I don't know if any of you have really noticed like how close our barn is to our house. It's just set up so nicely. I'm really gonna miss I'm gonna miss everything about this house. You know, everything is so convenient. It's like right there is the barn, so I can hear the goats easily or anything going on, especially when I open up these windows. All of these windows in here, except for like 2 of them or 3 of them, they all open. So you can see everything. That's why I love just sitting in here, drinking my coffee, reading my Bible, reading a book. The garden shed is right there. My husband's workshop, you can't really see it because there's a bunch of trees in the way, and my shelving system here is in the way, but if I zoom in, you'll see it's like literally right there. So it doesn't take us long to, you know, walk to the workshop, get something out of the garden shed, go into the barn. So the boy goats are back in there. I can see them from here. We've got some chickens sitting there. When Peppa is up and about, you can see Peppa. She'll walk back and forth right here. It's funny. She's super cute. And then if I turn this way just a little bit, right past that tree is their hay feeder. I used to be able to see that area very easily during the winter time, but now that this hydrangea tree has grown back, so my view is not as good as it once was, but that's okay. It doesn't really make a difference. I know when they're there. I can see all the goats usually running back and forth back in through our pasture area there. And of course we have the pond right here, and we have goldfish and koi in there. So when it's time to move, it's going to be really hard to let all of this go, but because we do love how everything is set up here, it gives us a vision of what we want in the future. We picked this house with the intent of living here forever. This is definitely something that I'm gonna want in the future, and I don't think it's a hard concept to envision. The hardest thing will probably honestly be the koi pond. We have had ponds, and every pond we've had always leaks. Every single time, it never fails, we get a leaking pond. So if we decide to do a pond, because we do really love the tranquility, the sound, the peacefulness of the pond, but they are very hard to upkeep. So if we do decide to go down the pond road again, we'll probably do something small, just like a tranquility pond with maybe just a couple koi fish in it. But for the most part, it will be like a big pond, just for the ducks and, the cows to drink from and stuff like that. So that is the goal. We've never had a big pond like that, but that would be really nice. But look, the baby's playing on the logs. Well guys, I just wanted to take you along today of showing you what we do with our older eggs. I hope that you had found this video helpful, especially if you're in a situation where you just have an abundance of eggs and you're really falling short on figuring out what to do with them. And sometimes I feel like that too. Like I just get a little overwhelmed sometimes with the amount of eggs, but I would rather have an abundance of eggs than a shortage of eggs. And we do also water glass them. I still have some from last year, so if we ever need eggs, I do have those, and I'll probably dig into those sometime soon just to see how they're doing. But yeah, so that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much, and until next time, you guys be blessed. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.